Hello, I'm Jacob Fairmont, and today we are going to make a business presentation as far as Onvoi Interactive, the company. And I'm going to try to keep it uplifting, I'm going to try to keep it positive, I'm going to try to keep it good spirited. In terms of in terms of specificity, what is the future direction of Onvoi and where should it all head from here? First of all, there's the interactive cinema component. In terms of creating new industries, there's the theatrical component. Well, we have so many, some would describe it as defunct movie theaters in all 50 states. It's more complicated than that from a theoretical standpoint, but it's also a tremendous opportunity. Now, we're prioritizing the hardware manufacturing for the keypad device, 2 push-button remote control, and for the console boxes, the electronic boxes underneath the television set. It could be a manufacturing initiative in that it would be basically, here's the dilemma, but here's also the solution. The electronic box, if we manufacture it, what gets programmed into it? That's been the conundrum of the business for many, almost years, because I want to be respectful, but the studios can't fix the codec problem. And I'll explain what that means here shortly in a little bit. So if we manufacture the hardware equipment, the box underneath the TV set, and the 2 push-button remote control, that's very simple. I already have the specific contractors that could get us the specific components that would make it work in terms of the infrared and in terms of the receiver unit that receives the infrared signal. So the remote control and the box underneath the TV set could be manufactured. So then we get into the content dilemma. Well, it's a new industry. It's interactivity, it's interactive, offering consumers choice for the first time, where with the push button on the remote control, they guide the stories, guide the adventures. Okay? Now, here's the dilemma, the conundrum, the problem that I identified earlier. It's 2 options. One, the simple one, is basically HTML5. Swear to God, it's true. If there's a regulatory body that allows for new file formats, digital file formats, it's based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay? It's USA. So, and HTML5 would at least get us some practicality in terms of the interactive choice element. It's true, but it's programmed into a hardware box. Because the other solution would be what? We need bigger guns, we need bigger powers to solve the codec solution, meaning file format, MP4, .mov. That regulatory body that oversees whether an interactive file format could be made is in Geneva, Switzerland. So maybe I'm humble, but that's why I've said all along to the venture capital community, I've said, my friends, I'm pioneering a new industry. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be fantastic in terms of revenues and in terms of new consumer experiences and in terms of revolutionizing hardware and software innovations. Well, I asked him for a simple international long-distance calling plan so I could call Geneva and say I could fix the problem for the studios in 5 minutes. Now, is that file format, if it's proprietary, and we've been working on it, then it still needs to be regulatorily approved by the board in Geneva, Switzerland. But I'm telling you, I already gave you the practical shortcut. Cambridge, Massachusetts is HTML protocols. The latest they have is HTML5. That in itself would enable the interactivity. So it's web content programmed into one of those hardware boxes situated behind me in this video presentation. Now, what are the limitations of HTML versus a codec? Obviously, big differences. You're watching a live video right now. That's a video transmission. It's much more effective than a traditional interactive game. But if we're trying to pioneer a new industry here in the state of Tennessee, I've said it all along, the manufacturing and the hardware, we know exactly how to do it. We know how to get it done in terms of the infrared signal, the receiver unit, the hardware box, the box that would be situated in the projection room of the movie theater so we could enable interactive cinema. And we have all these defunct cinemas. They're no longer exhibiting films anymore in the current day. But that's just an environment to showcase the new technology. Direct-to-consumer home entertainment is still the most viable solution, the most practical solution. So based on what I've put together, it's basically going to be HTML5, simple choose your own adventure. And I've said it all along. If it were to be interactive cinema, which would be pioneered and has been pioneered by my company for the first time in industrial history, if it's going to be that, it wouldn't take a $300 million in terms of production costs. It wouldn't entail that, because if it's a new medium and if it's new innovation and if consumers have never been exposed to it, it wouldn't need to be the fanciest thing in the world. Just the event of consumers being able to choose the adventures, guide the stories, guide the adventures, choose the alternative endings on the screen in terms of new technology. If that were to be enabled in the cinematic capacity, that would be the first time anyone ever did it in all 7 continents, industrial history. So it goes back to first this. When we assemble this initiative, manufacturing initiative, look, manufacturing is no picnic. You can watch some of my other videos where I know it's the solution. But there's also 2 differences. Proprietary in-house developments in terms of innovation, in terms of new product solutions, and then getting it approved so that the actual innovations can be unveiled in terms of globally, nationally. Well, codecs, Hollywood studios, and MP4s and .mov files needs to be approved in Geneva. HTML5 ain't fantastic, okay? It's not ideal. But those protocols are state of Massachusetts. And there's enough capability with HTML5 where we could unveil interactivity, interactive, choose your own adventure, interactive experiences for home entertainment and for cinema via the HTML. It makes more sense, doesn't it? Domestic equals more practical. International can be a headache. Sometimes I think they have solutions in place that they're not willing to unveil for years and years and years and years and years and years, even though it should be ready to go. Now, It could be as simple as what? And think about the old antiquated DVD software. I still have all the old software. It was much smarter than it is today. Why? Because it enabled the consumer, the owner of the software, it enabled them to do more things. Now it's like the technology runs you instead of vice versa. But it's this. It could be as simple, some experts tell me, it could be as simple as a DVD menu option. When you select a specific scene on a DVD, when you hit play, when you hit pause, but it's not, because let's be perfectly honest, no software in technological history has enabled that function above and beyond a simple DVD menu. You can go all the way back. It has to do with the file formats. MP4, .mov, well, I thought .int for interactive. And it needs to be